All right, you asshats, welcome to another deep dive.
Another deep dive.
Today, we're going deep into the glorious fucked up history of, you guessed it,
Liverpool F.C.
Liverpool F.C. This one's for you, you obsessive stat-hounding bastard.
You love them.
You think you know the Reds. Well, get ready for a reality check, because we're going way beyond the bullshit you see on the telly.
And the usual headlines.
We're talking dirt, drama, the kind of shit they try to sweep under the rug. All from the Wikipedia rabbit hole, baby.
The source of all truth.
Jesus Christ, this is going to be a long one.
It is a lot.
But hey, I'm here for it. Let's cut the crap and rewind back to 1892.
Back to the very beginning.
Liverpool FC is born. But get this. It wasn't some fairy tale love of the beautiful game that brought them into existence.
No.
It was a full-blown, knockdown, drag-out feud.
A proper one.
Give us the juicy details.
It all started with Everton, right? They had this massive falling out with their landlord, John Holding, rent disputes, power struggles, the whole 9 yards.
Sounds messy.
It was. Everton basically told Holding to shove it and fucked off to Goodison Park, leaving him with an empty Anfield.
So this Holding bloke, instead of crying into his pint, decided to create his own team. Talk about holding a grudge.
The man had a serious case of fuck you energy. He was like, fine, you want to leave, I'll build my own damn team right here, right now. And that's how Liverpool FC was born.
Out of pure spite. That's some next-level pettiness. So did he just round up a bunch of random scousers to play?
He went north of the border, mate, recruited an entire team of Scottish players.
The Scotch professors, right.
Exactly.
A bunch of kilt-wearing lads kicking a ball around Anfield. That must have been a sight. Did they even know what a football was?
They knew how to play, that's for sure. They won the Lancashire League in their first season and got promoted to the second division the next. They were a force to be reckoned with.
All right, so they're racking up wins, but they're playing in blue and white. What the fuck is that about? When did they finally see the light and switch to the iconic all-red kit?
Hold your horses, we'll get there. They started wearing red in 1896.
After getting promoted to the first division.
Right. But the all-red kit we know and love.
The one that strikes fear into the hearts of opponents.
That didn't come about until 1964.
Under Shankly.
Under the reign of the legendary Bill Shankly.
Shankly, the messiah of Anfield. I know he's a big deal, but what makes him so special? Did he invent the bloody passing game or something?
Shankly didn't just manage the team, he transformed the whole damn club. When he arrived in 1959...
From Huddersfield.
Yeah, he cleared out the deadwood, released 24 players. Can you imagine the carnage?
Sounds ruthless.
Yeah.
The man clearly didn't fuck about.
He wanted a team built in his image, and that included the all-red kit. He believed red would give his players a psychological edge, red for danger, red for power, and you know what? It bloody worked.
So, Shankly brings in the red, and suddenly Liverpool are winning everything in sight.
He took them from the second division to the first division title, FA Cup, UEFA Cup. The man was a trophy magnet. And he embraced You'll Never Walk Alone as the club's anthem.
That song still gives me goosebumps. But what about this boot room I keep hearing about? It sounds like some dodgy S&M club.
It sounds dodgy, but it was anything but. The boot room was a tiny storage space at Anfield where Shankly and his coaching staff would gather. Imagine this. Joe Fagan, Reuben Bennett, Bob Paisley, some of the greatest footballing minds ever, crammed into this little room, smoking cigarettes, arguing tactics, and basically changing the face of football.
Sounds like my kind of party. Booze, fags, and tactical genius. So Shankly retires after winning everything under the sun. What happens to Liverpool then? Do they fall apart without their fearless leader?
Not a chance. Bob Paisley took over.
The quiet one.
This bloke was a trophy machine. 9 seasons, 20 trophies. Let me repeat that. 20 fucking trophies.
He must have had a magic wand up his arse or something.
3 European Cups, 6 league titles, a UEFA Cup, 3 League Cups in a row. The man was unstoppable.
Except for one tiny detail.
That's that.
He never won the FA Cup.
Oh, yeah. The FA Cup. It's almost comical.
It's the one trophy every English team dreams of.
It's a strange twist, right? The most successful manager in Liverpool's history, and he never got his hands on the FA Cup. It's like the universe playing a cruel joke.
All right, so we've got Shankly and Paisley racking up trophies like it's nothing. But didn't some pretty dark shit go down in the 80s? Heysel and Hillsborough? Those were some seriously fucked up events.
The 80s were a roller coaster, that's for sure. There were still victories.
Sure, of course.
But those two tragedies, they cast a long shadow over everything.
Starting with Heysel in 1985.
Liverpool fans charged Juventus supporters, a wall collapsed, 0.39 people died.
Most of them Italians.
Yeah, and they still had to play the match after that.
Fucking hell. And they still have to play the match after that, after all that chaos and death.
Yeah, even though both managers wanted to call it off.
I bet.
Understandably, Liverpool lost, and then English clubs were banned from European competition for years. Liverpool got a 6-year ban.
6 years. That's a long time to be shut out of Europe.
It was a dark day for English football.
And then, just a few years later, you have Hillsborough.
Another horrific event, an FA Cup semi-final against Nottingham Forest in 1989. Overcrowding, poor policing, a complete and utter disaster.
97 Liverpool fans crushed to death.
It's hard to even talk about it. 97 lives lost, just like that.
How the hell did that happen?
Incompetence, negligence, a whole catalog of failures. The Taylor report that followed placed the blame squarely on the police. It led to massive changes in stadium safety, including the end of standing terraces in England.
Standing terraces. So before Hillsborough, fans were literally packed in like sardines.
Yeah, and it was a recipe for disaster. Those tragedies had a profound impact on the club, the city, and the entire footballing world.
Let's move on to something a bit lighter, shall we?
Yeah.
Rivalries. Liverpool have a few, and I'm not talking about friendly competition here. First up, the Merseyside Derby. Everton, the Blue Shite.
Ah, yes, the friendly derby. One of the few where fans aren't segregated, which makes for a pretty intense atmosphere, to say the least.
Intense. More like a fucking powder keg waiting to explode.
It's been especially heated since the 80s, both on and off the pitch. And since the Premier League started, the Merseyside Derby has seen more red cards than any other fixture.
More red cards. Sounds like my kind of game. But seriously, what fuels this rivalry? Is it just because they're both from Liverpool?
It's deeper than that, mate. Remember, Liverpool was born out of a split from Everton.
Ah, right. The whole Holding an Anfield debacle.
Exactly. They've been fighting for bragging rights and dominance ever since.
So it's a battle for the soul of Liverpool.
Got it.
But let's not forget about the big one, Liverpool versus Manchester United. That shit goes way beyond football.
That's a rivalry for the ages. Two of the biggest, most successful clubs in English football, constantly battling for supremacy.
And let's not forget the historical rivalry between the cities themselves. Two industrial powerhouses, always trying to one-up each other.
Exactly. The rivalry dates back to the 19th century, fueled by economic competition and social tensions. It's a clash of cultures, of identities, and it all plays out on the pitch, where the stakes are sky high.
They've both won a shitload of trophies over the years. They've practically monopolized English football.
Between them, they got 39 league titles and 9 European Cups. But here's the thing, they've rarely dominated at the same time. When Liverpool were ruling the 70s and 80s, Manchester United went through a 26-year title drought. And when United were on top in the Premier League era, Liverpool went 30 years without a league title.
Taking turns kicking each other's bollocks, eh? That just makes their clashes even more epic, doesn't it? It's a battle for the crown, for bragging rights, for historical supremacy.
You nailed it. And the fact that they almost never buy players from each other just adds fuel to the fire. The last direct transfer between them was in 1964.
1964. Fucking hell. They really do hate each other, don't they? It's like a blood feud passed down through generations.
Let's just say there's no love lost between those two.
All right. All this talk about feuds and rivalries is making me thirsty. Let's grab a pint, take a piss, and we'll be back to delve into the next chapter of Liverpool's batshit crazy history.
Right then, you lot. Ready for more LFC mayhem.
Hit me with it, mate. Recovered from that last pint, so let's dive back into this shit show.
All right, let's talk about the ownership saga. It's a proper roller coaster, this one.
Oh, I bet it is. Heard some stories about those American cowboys who almost ran the club into the ground. More drama than a fucking soap opera.
You're not wrong. For years, Liverpool was owned by the Moores family. Proper Scousers through and through. But then, in 2007, they sold the club.
To a pair of American businessmen. George Gillette and Tom Hicks.
Oh.
Still remember those names.
Yeah, Gillette and Hicks.
Those two were trying to buy up half of English football, weren't they?
They had the ambition, all right. But they turned out to be all talk and no trousers. They piled debt onto the club like it was going out of fashion, made all sorts of promises they couldn't keep.
Treated Liverpool like their own personal piggy bank, more like.
Exactly. And the fans, well, they weren't happy, to say the least.
Scousers don't take kindly to people messing with their beloved club. I bet they were fuming.
Fuming is an understatement. There were protests, banners, effigies being burned the whole 9 yards. The situation got really toxic, mate. The club was on the brink of bankruptcy.
A financial clusterfuck of epic proportions. How the hell did they get out of that mess?
The creditors finally had enough. They dragged Gillette and Hicks to court, demanding a sale of the club. It was a proper high-stakes battle, let me tell you.
So the Yanks got their asses handed to them in court.
They tried to cling on, but in the end, the court ruled in favor of the creditors. Gillette and Hicks were out, and Liverpool could finally breathe again.
Thank fuck for that. So who came in to save the day? Another bunch of money-hungry sharks.
Fenway Sports Group, the owners of the Boston Red Sox, stepped in. They bought the club in 2010.
Another bunch of Americans. You'd think Liverpool fans would have been shitting bricks after the Gillette and Hicks fiasco.
There was definitely some apprehension, that's for sure. But FSG, they've been different. They've invested heavily in the club, rebuilt the squad, and, brought back the glory days.
They haven't been shy about spending money, that's for damn sure. Liverpool have become a global brand worth billions. It's all about the money, money, money these days, isn't it?
You can't deny it. They're a media darling now, with fans all over the world.
Speaking of fans, let's talk about the players who actually wear the shirts, the ones who sweat and bleed for the club. Liverpool have had some absolute legends over the years.
Oh, mate, where do we even begin?
Well, there's Kenny Dalglish, King Kenny.
Ian Rush, Goal Machine.
Graeme Souness, hard as nails.
Robbie Fowler, God.
And of course, Stevie G, Captain Fantastic himself.
Steven Gerrard, a true one-club man. He almost single-handedly dragged them to Champions League glory in 2005.
Almost. But hey, they did win it again in 2019 with Klopp at the helm. And let's not forget the current captain, Big Verge.
Virgil van Dijk, a rock at the back, transformed their defense completely. And then you've got Salah, Mane, Alisson, a squad packed with world-class talent.
It's a manager's dream team, that's for sure. And they've got the academy, pumping out young talent. The future's looking bright for the Reds. Back for more, you degenerates. Ready to wrap up this LFC odyssey.
Let's finish with a bang, shall we? Let's talk trophies.
All right, let's dive into the Liverpool trophy cabinet. It must be overflowing by now.
Overflowing is an understatement, mate. 19 league titles, for starters. Not bad for a team that was born out of a petty squabble.
And they've conquered Europe more times than I can count. 6 European Cups, 3 UEFA Cups, 4 UEFA Super Cups. They've made a habit of it.
European royalty. And they've even won the FIFA Club World Cup, mate.
So they've basically won everything there is to win. Except maybe a bloody baking competition.
Right.
Any records they hold that are particularly impressive? Something to rub in their rivals' faces?
Well, they've got more top-flight wins and points than any other English team. Talk about consistency.
Sounds like they've cracked the code, the bastards. But even Liverpool must have had some rough patches, right? Nobody's perfect.
Of course. Relegated a couple of times in their early days, and then there was that wobble in the 90s. But they always seem to bounce back stronger.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes. That's the mark of a truly great club, isn't it? The ability to adapt, evolve, and overcome adversity.
And they've always had that fighting spirit, that never-say-die attitude. It's in their DNA.
You know what always gets me? The passion of the Liverpool fans. The atmosphere at Anfield is something else.
The cop, mate. Legendary. Yeah. Thousands of fans belting out, "You'll never walk alone."
Yeah.
It's enough to give you goosebumps.
It's a reminder that football is more than just a game. It's about belonging, community, shared passion.
And Liverpool fans, they embody that spirit perfectly. They're the 12th man on the pitch.
All right, let's settle this once and for all. Is Liverpool F.C. the greatest football club in the world?
That's a debate that'll probably never end, mate. But they're definitely up there with the best. The history, the trophies, the global fan base, the unwavering support, they've got it all.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I think we've bombarded our listeners with enough LFC knowledge for one day. They'll be dreaming in red and white by now.
Maybe they'll even try wrapping the Anfield rep in their sleep.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Right, that's a wrap on this LFC deep dive, you bunch of wankers. Hope you learned a thing or two, maybe had a few laughs along the way. Now piss off and go watch some footy.